Hello, welcome to the FRQ of the day. Today we're going to look at the 2015 number 5, and the AP Stats exam this year is going to be 45 minutes long, and it's going to consist, they say, of 2 problems. So it's going to, and it's not going to have an investigative task one, by the way. In other words, it's going to be taken straight from AP Stats material. An investigative task, like the number 6 problems we've done, expands upon the material. All right, but that's not going to happen. So I don't know if I'm going to look at any of the numbers. It's number 6 is from the old exams. So one of the problems is going to take supposedly 25 minutes long, and then you should have 5 minutes to be able to upload your answer. So it'll be a longer version of this. It'll have like an A, B, C, D, and E. And then the other one they say should take you 10 minutes, and you have 5 minutes to upload that. And we'll talk more about that later. But for right now, let's see if you can figure out this problem. So let's read this together, and if you want to give it a try, pause the video and give it a try, then that would be good. So a student measures the heights and the arm spans rounded to the nearest inch of each person in a random sample of 12 seniors at a high school. A scatter plot of the arm span versus height of the 12 seniors is shown below. So the height is the x variable and the arm span is the y variable. There it is. Based on the dot plot, describe the relationship between the arm span and the height for the sample of 12 seniors. So if you want to go ahead and pause and do that one, because this one kind of lays out a bit long, and I'm not going to be able to fit the whole problem on here. So if you want to pause the video and do part A, that would be good. Okay, now we'll look at the rest of it. So then it says, let x represent the height in inches and let y represent the arm span in inches. The 2 scatter plots of the same data are shown below. Graph 1 shows the data with the least squared regression line, y hat is equal to 11.74 plus 0.8247x. And graph 2 shows the data with the line y is equal to x. So that's the line y is equal to x, and that is that least squared regression line. Okay? And so then what it asks you in that regard, so it asks this. So it says, the criteria described in the table below can be used to classify people into one of 3 body categories: square, tall rectangle, or short rectangle, where square is the arm span is equal to the height, the tall rectangle is the arm span is less than the height, and then the short rectangle is the arm span is greater than the height. And so part 1 and part B. For which graph, 1 or 2, is the line helpful in classifying a student's body type as square, tall rectangle, or short rectangle? Explain. So if you want to pause the video and give that a shot. Now for the next part, it asks you to complete the table of classifications. So and so there's the table for the classifications. So complete the table for square, tall rectangle, and short rectangle for the 12 people. And if you want to do that. And then lastly, it says this. It says for part C, it says use the best model for prediction. Using the best model for prediction, calculate the predicted arm span for a senior with a height of 61 inches. So using the best model for prediction. So if you want to pause the video and give that a shot as well. Okay, so let's look at the answer for this. So this one is a linear regression problem. This is presented, part of it is sort of straightforward, and then the other part takes a little bit of ingenuity. But so the first thing it says based on the scatter plot, describe the relationship between arm span and height. And so that's DOFS, direction, outliers, form, and strength. Direction, outliers, form, and strength. So you'd have to say it's positive. It's going up from left to right in general, so you'd say it's positive. I would say it's pretty strong, and it's linear. It's not showing any sort of noticeable curve. Okay, and there doesn't appear to be any outliers, but make sure and mention the context. So this is the way I said it, and so it says there is a positive strong, and you could say moderately strong or strong. I think that'd be okay here. And then linear relationship between arm span and height for those 12 students, and make sure and mention the context. That's important. A lot of people left that out. And you certainly could have said that there doesn't appear to be any outliers. In general, when there's not outliers, you're not required to list it, but anyway, that would have been maybe more complete, but that certainly would have given you essentially correct. And so then the next thing is when it gives you this graph of y is equal to x, and then this one, the least squared regression line, and it had this situation where you've got we want to divide them up into arm span is equal to height, arm span is less than height, and arm span is greater than height. Well, if arm span is equal to height, that is this line y is equal to x. Okay, and so that would be the useful one there. And so we would pick graph 2. Graph 2 is what would be useful there. The line y is equal to x will go through the points where arm span is equal to height, which is for the square people. The points that are above the line y is equal to x, arm span will be greater than height. So that's what, so for this point, it's above the line, so its arm span is 64 and its height appears to be 61. So all the ones above the line, arm span will be greater than height, and so that would be the short rectangle people, and the points that are below the line y is equal to x have an arm span is less than height. So that would be what we call tall rectangle. And comparing it to line 1, the line in graph 1 would not be as useful. Would not be. So the line in graph 1 would not be as useful in dividing up the points in this way. So, and whenever you're asked to compare things, make sure you compare them. Say why you're picking graph 2, and then make sure and also say why that's better than graph 1. You'd still get full credit here as long as you stated that the line y is equal to x, points above the line are short rectangle, points below the line are tall rectangle. And so then the next part it asks to find, the square, the arm span is equal to the height, the tall rectangle arm span is less than the height, and so forth. So the square is these three, okay, that are on the line. By the way, there's a lot of people that missed this, that didn't see this point up here, and they said 2, and they actually gave people full credit if they just said 2 for that reason, because there are so many that didn't spot it. So for the square people, it's 1, 2, 3. So the tall rectangle is going to be they have a greater height, so that's going to be below the line. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then for the short rectangles, those above the line, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so that's how those numbers were gotten. And then so that's that. And so then lastly, it said using the best model equation, calculate the predicted arm span for a senior with a height of 21. Well, the best model equation is the least squared regression line, and so that is that guy right there. And so you just plug 61 in there and put 62.0467 inches, and make sure and put inches. They actually counted that partially correct if you didn't put inches in this one, but make sure and show it plugged in. And so that's it, and that's it for your FRQ of the day. So come back tomorrow and we'll have another one. I will look to start the 2014 exam. So if you have any questions about this, please send me a question.